What is going on with Jim Carrey? So recently, Jim Carrey was spotted at an award show and he did not look like himself. Several people noticed that there was something off about his face. Now, a lot of people speculated that he was replaced by a clone, but I have another theory. I think perhaps that was a mimic that was at that award show. Now, there's a very famous story out of the eastern part of the United States. There was this man named Kevin. Kevin lived in a holler in the Appalachian Mountains with his mom, his dad, and his brother and sisters. And on the weekends, his parents would often leave him alone watching his brothers and sisters. So one Friday night, his parents went out somewhere and they put him in charge. Most of the night goes pretty normal and he gets his brothers and sisters to bed. But later that night, as he's laying in his bed, he begins to hear his brother's voice. And at first, he thought his brother was, up out of bed, like running around the house. But as he gets out of his bed, he starts to notice his brother's voice is coming from outside. And so he thinks, oh no, like my brother's gone outside. I need to get him inside because if my parents get home, they're going to be very mad. So he goes outside of the house. And when he goes out the back door, he starts hearing his brother's voice. And it's coming from the shed. So he goes over to the shed. And he starts yelling at his brother, like, you better get inside. You're going to get in trouble. Like, don't make me come in there and get you. His brother doesn't respond. So once again, he says, you better get out of their shed or you're going to be in big trouble. And once again, he doesn't respond. So he goes to the front of the shed. He opens the door and he can see this figure over in the corner. It looks like his brother. So he walks inside and he says very sternly to his brother, you better get inside now or I'm going to have to bring you in myself. And the shadowy figure moves over towards him. He says, brother, just patted him on the shoulder. And that's when he realized that that wasn't his brother. So he made his way out of the shed and he ran back inside and he shut the door and he locked it. And he goes directly to his brother's room. And when he opens the door, he sees his brother is in bed, passed out. And that's when he starts hearing this banging coming from the back door. And at this point, he was terrified. And he starts hearing his brother's voice calling him from the back door to come outside. But when he looks, his brother is still in bed sleeping. This went on for several hours until his parents came home. His father searched the property. He couldn't find anything. And he penciled it into being just his imagination. Well, not too long after that, he said, once again, one night he was asleep. And he woke up to the sound of commotion coming from the living room. So he got out of bed, went through the hallway, and he came into the living room. And he said that's when he seen his mom. She was sitting in a rocking chair, rocking back and forth. She was turned around to where he couldn't see her face. And when he looked over at the clock, he noticed it was 3:30 a.m. And when he looked back at his mom, she was knitting something. And he said that's when it occurred to him. He just heard his mom snoring in the bedroom. So he turns around, he runs into her bedroom, and sure enough, there she is in bed. And when he wakes his parents and they go out there, there is no one there. But there is needles and a crocheted blanket sitting on the rocking